order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Melrose Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the City of Melrose's website at www.cityofmelrose.org. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time, or in the event that we're unable to do so, we will post on the mmtv3.org website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Then all votes will be recorded via roll call votes. And just to point out, there has been an extension to all permitting deadlines applicable to commission proceedings pursuant to Chapter 53 of the Acts of 2020 that extends out 45 days after the conclusion of the state of emergency. Okay, so with that statement being read, we'll come to our agenda. The first item is to approve the minutes from April 16th, 2020. I just emailed you some edits right before this meeting, but they're mostly sort of formatting and kind of filling in a little bit of how the conversation went. Has anybody else had an opportunity to review the minutes or make comments?
I reviewed the minutes. I didn't have any specific edits, but I trust any corrections you passed on would be fine if they aren't substantive.
Would you like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Fine. Motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll need a roll call vote on this. So Eric, if you could read the roll.
Richard Doucette,
Yes.
Kate Hickey,
Yes.
Paul Moore,
Yes.
Susan Murphy,
Yes.
Ryan Sloan, is he here yet?
I didn't see Ryan on.
Aaron Wynette,
Yes.
Minutes are approved. Next on our agenda is the notice of intent for file number 217-0209, Lot 1, Maple Terrace, filed by Eaglebrook Engineering and Survey for construction of a new single-family dwelling, driveway, and stormwater infiltration system. This was continued from our last meeting. I think our primary aim was to conduct a site visit, so we had some actual physical site context for this. So I did that, but didn't call the applicant. I did it more for sort of from the roadway because I did it in the rain. And I've been out to that area quite a few times. Was there anything that the applicant wanted to share with us before we go to questions from the commission or comments arising out of that site visit?
That's me, Jay. I don't think so. You went by there. You probably saw it where I staked it off so you could get kind of a general idea of the driveway. Okay, and so your other members also just, briefly contacted me, and they didn't need my assistance either. They could see it. Obviously, I'm assuming this meeting is all about that driveway being away from the intermittent stream. So I don't, unless you had a question for me, I don't think there's anything more that I could add that Ben can't speak to, because I know there were some questions from your commission, and I know he's kind of already, I'll let Ben handle that. Okay.
All right, Ben, is there anything you want to share with us before we talk about sort of the results of the site visit?
I don't think so. I think it'd just be easiest to answer whatever questions you have.
All right, so were people able to get out there, and do you have any questions or comments after seeing it?
This is Aaron Wynette. I made it up to the site today. I had not been to that site before. It predated my time on the commission for the previous filing for 20 Maple Terrace. So basically, it just informed me of the site conditions. It's very helpful to see things in real life as opposed to a 2D map. So it's very apparent that the constrictions or constraints of where they're trying to put the driveway. I didn't have any specific questions resulting from my site visit, but it just helped kind of justify in my mind why it's lined up how it is with some of the other site constraints as well. So no further questions from me at this time.
Richard, did you have a chance to go out there, and did you have any thoughts on it after that?
Yes, I did go out to see the site, and it finally made a lot more sense to me when I saw it. I was wondering during the hearing a few weeks ago if the wetland could be an isolated lane subject to flooding, but it could never be that because there's a culvert in the bottom of it, so it'll always drain out. So the wetland associated with the stream in the front of the property is what it is. And also the location of the driveway makes sense to me now. It's really the only place it could go. The only question I had is, as you pull in right where the new driveway would be, there's something in the ground. It's sort of green plastic sort of manhole cover. What's there, and does that relate to the future construction?
This is Jay, but Ben, you can probably do that better than me. I'll let Ben handle it. It has to do with the sewer.
This is Ben. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so there's what you saw were the manhole covers for the existing pump chamber. And last time we discussed that's a pump chamber for the existing house at 20 Maple Terrace. So we do not want to move that pump chamber. We want to keep that in its place, but run a new gravity service to it and then a new force main from that pump chamber in its existing location, as well as the new pump chamber for the new dwelling. That is also a factor in where the driveway is located and why we have this retaining wall right here and the water service where it is.
Okay. Well, I can see it on the plans now. So I have no further questions. I have no problem with the file.
I think some of the confusion may have been before we, I think you were provided a scan of a scan, which is always a little harder to read than what's in front of you now.
Okay, and then Kate, were you able to go out, and did you have any questions or comments?
No, unfortunately, I was not able to go out, but it's good to hear the input from Richard and Aaron from their site visit.
And Paul Moore, any other thoughts on this? Were you able to go out and see it?
Yeah, I was able to go out and visit the site. It was kind of a nice break. It was a really nice day out, so I probably lingered there a little longer than I needed to just to enjoy it. There's some turkeys out there. But one of the things I noticed, and maybe not necessarily specific to the site, but just on my way out there, Maple Terrace is marked as a private way, but on the plans, it's listed here as being a public way, if I'm reading the plans correctly. So I was just wondering if you can clarify who's responsible for maintaining that roadway.
This is Jay again. I can only tell you my experience from living out there because I'm in the neighborhood that Melrose does plow all of that when it snows. And they kind of share it with Malden because we're on the line. But I mean, I believe at the end of the day, the Melrose trucks run through there. They do pick up the trash at the end of the street there as well. So again, that's just from me living there and seeing, the vehicles show up. That's probably all I can add to that.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is I know one of the things we asked last week was about the possibility of having a shared driveway to get around some of the cramped space there. And I know one of the objections to that was didn't want to set up an HOA or some sort of shared responsibility for that. And my question is there going to need to be some sort of an HOA anyway just to cover maintenance of that street? And if that was the case, then, you know, covering 20 feet of shared driveway is probably the least of the concern. So I was just curious about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe that we have any shared responsibility as far as the street goes. None of the other people who live on Maple Terrace do. And Melrose has been, you know, handles the trash and the snow removal there. And the lot anyway that we're going to be putting the house on is not part of that other lot with that driveway.
Well, I'm sorry, we're talking about the lot that's adjacent to 20 Maple Terrace, correct? That's right next to the existing driveway?
Yeah, maybe I misunderstood your question. What was it?
Oh, well, when we met last time, I forget who it was originally, but someone brought up the idea of potentially sharing the existing driveway between the new construction and the existing property on 20 Maple Terrace. And if I recall correctly, one of the objections to that was, you know, you didn't want to go about having to deal with a homeowners association or something that would cover the shared responsibility. And my question is, if there's going to be a shared responsibility anyway for the maintenance of Maple Terrace, then what's an extra 15 or 20 feet for a driveway?
Right, yeah, no. So my understanding is there's not any shared responsibility for Maple Terrace. Melrose takes care of that completely.
Okay, well, I guess then I would be curious to know why it's listed as a private way.
That I couldn't answer you.
Yeah, hi, this is Nancy, and I live on Rudolph Street, and actually my property line cuts through a little tiny piece of Melrose, and my property abuts the conservation across from this site and, you know, down in that drainage. And I've been up here for about 15 years. And Rudolph Street is also marked as a private way in Malden. And the city of Malden is Rudolph Street right down. They often go all the way to Maple Terrace, but for all intents and purposes, they maintain it to the end of Rudolph Street. And then the city of Melrose maintains Maple Terrace with trash and plowing and all the time, all the way up to 20 Maple Terrace that exists there now, that driveway. They actually push it off slightly past like the Melrose into that area that's no man's land, so to speak. So the street is maintained by the city of Melrose.
Thank you. And it is not uncommon for the city to maintain private ways, but can I remind everybody, if you're not actually speaking, to mute your microphone because we are getting a lot of feedback. Okay. Did you have anything else, Paul?
No, that's it for right now. Thank you.
Okay, and I'll just add, I agree with Richard and Aaron who are out there, that being out there, you could see why the plan was set up the way that it is. And so it made a lot more sense. Anyone from the commission want to cover anything else before we see if there's any members of the public who would like to ask a question or make a comment on this matter? Okay, not hearing anything, I will open it up for any members of the public. Are they unmuted, Eric, so that they can speak up if they would choose to?
Not right now.
Can you do that? And then they can say if they want to speak on this one?
Muted.
Okay, so are they unmuted now? Is that what you said?
They're all unmuted.
All right, if anyone who is a member of the public attending would like to ask a question or comment on this matter, if you want to speak up now, tell us your name and your address. Okay, hearing none. Close the public comment period. So I think having seen it, my impression from what everyone's saying is that we're comfortable with how the plan would be. This will require a waiver of the 20-foot construction zone requirements. That's correct. So we need, in addition, we'll make a specific vote on a waiver for that requirement. Are there any other concerns, things people would like, specific things people would like to see in an order of conditions for this, aside from our usual special conditions? Okay, so first thing I would ask for, I will make a motion that we grant a waiver for this project from the requirements for a 20-foot no construction buffer from the edge of the wetland due to the characteristics of the access to the site. Can I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, we'll need a roll call vote on that, Eric.
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
great.
Okay, and then with that, I would make a motion that we issue an order of conditions for this project as submitted with our usual special conditions appended. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
All right, we'll need a roll call vote on that as well. Eric, take it away.
Richard,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
great.
So this matter is concluded. We are working out our signature issues because the DEP and the registry are requiring different things, and we're having a little trouble getting what we need out of the city clerk. So Eric will keep you posted as to when you're actually going to get this. Right, Eric? Is that fair?
Yeah, it looks promising that Monday afternoon-ish, I should be able to get the form notarized to get this thing moving.
Okay. All right, because all our ones from last meeting are held up as well, so. All right, well, thank you very much. And we'll move on to our next matter.
Okay, well, thank you. This is Jay, Susan, and the rest of the board. Thank you. So I'll just hear from Eric and we'll logistically figure out how to get this recorded at the registry. But we're good to go at this point. All right, well, I
There is an
appreciate
appeal
everybody's.
period. Just so you know, there's
I
an
understand,
appeal
I understand.
period and there's filing with the registry and all.
Yeah. But barring all that. Okay, I appreciate everybody doing these Zoom meetings, given the situation. Thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. The next item on our agenda is the notice of intent for Swain's Pond Ave Realty Trust. We do not have a quorum for it at this point because we do not have Michael Paiwanski. So no response from him, Eric?
Nope, nothing.
Try calling him one more time.
And I did email him, Susan. I didn't get a response from the email either.
Yeah, yeah.
But it goes and
Just didn't show. I know he had trouble last time. He had a computer problem, but he thought it was going to be resolved by this meeting.
Susan, sorry to interrupt. Could you explain the quorum issue, please?
We Melrose hasn't adopted the rules where people who've missed a meeting can catch up, and so our quorum, we need 4 people for a quorum. We need the majority of the commission there. So the 4 members who were at the initial hearing were myself, Kate Hickey, Aaron Wyneth, and Michael Paiwanski. And he has not joined the meeting now. So without him, we don't have a quorum because we need a minimum of 4. So if we start with 4, we need the same 4 to keep showing up. And Melrose hasn't adopted the provisions of state law that allow you to have people catch up on the proceedings. So right now, without him, we can't actually formally hold the hearing.
Okay, thank you for that. So when is your next meeting?
We normally would have a meeting on the 21st. Eric, have we talked about scheduling anything, or?
No, the 21st would be our next normal
Yeah.
meeting, and then after that, you're looking at June.
Yeah, we actually were only doing it today to accommodate you guys. But now we really are kind of stuck.
So,
I don't think we have much choice here. We had to continue it.
no, that's fine, as long as we can be on the 21st. And I guess, I don't know if there's any way, if there are questions that can be circulated. We've been answering questions to the planning board and posting things to the website. If there are specific questions that we can get answered that are in addition to the peer review, we'd be happy to do that so that on the 21st, we can be productive.
Yeah, I'll note that we were going to have to continue it anyway because we wanted to have that peer review process completed, I think, and have the peer reviewer. So we were going to have to put it off. So you're not, actually losing time in terms of when this could possibly be approved. I think one thing that came to my attention when I was reviewing those materials was about the design storm, because I know the city had requested use of a different design storm, which is something that we had. So, but I don't know if the city is going to be requesting that. But I didn't want there to be some impression that we didn't want their design storm. So certainly happy for the city to choose a different design storm. But I think we're waiting for that peer review process to go forward. So hopefully by the 21st, we'll have their material back and we can have the peer reviewer appear at the meeting as well.
Okay, my understanding is that the peer review and Melrose DPW is going to have will have had a chance to review and respond to our response tomorrow. So I think that the 21st will be very productive. We'll hopefully have everything ironed out in both of those letters by then.
Okay, so I apologize for this. So I think we're going to have to continue this to the May 21st meeting. So I'm going to make a motion that we continue the notice of intent for 0 Swain's Pond Avenue Realty Trust to May 21st at 7:35 p.m. Can I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any questions from the applicant or anyone about this before we go ahead? Any concerns? right,
No, I
so
think we understand.
Okay, thank you very much. So Eric, we'll need a roll call vote on that.
Richard,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
All right.
Again, sorry about that, and we'll see you on the May 21st, and we will make sure we've resolved Mr. Pawanski's issues with getting into these meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next on our agenda is the Certificate of Compliance reissuance for 20 Maple Terrace. It was good to go out there and remind myself of what that all looked like. It turns out, I have no memory of this, but it turns out I think I was actually the one kind of at the end monitoring the construction back in 2005 because I found an old email about it and I still have no memory about it but I know they tore down the old house, put up a new house, and put in the sewer line. The reason I wanted to put it off was just in case we went out there and it looked like they'd done something completely different since then, and we didn't want us to issue a certificate of compliance without at least ground truthing it and making sure it doesn't look completely different. So I did not actually go on the property, but it does. Nothing struck me as a problem, and it looks like I remembered it as well. But did you have any concerns or anything, or any thoughts about after going out there, Richard or Aaron?
This is Aaron. My only noteworthy thing was I did see a turkey, so that was fun. But yeah, it looked from the plans that Eric circulated, it seemed to be as it was proposed, and I think Eric circulated some old notes where there was a recommendation to issue an order of. So I mean, I had no questions at this point.
And how about you, Richard? Any thoughts on it? Are you good with it?
No, looks fine to me.
All right, then I'll make a motion that we issue a certificate of compliance in matter 217-147 for 20 Maple Terrace. Do I have a second? And then Eric will need a roll call vote on that. Richard?
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
All right, we're flying through 'em.
I know. All right, so the next thing on the agenda was discussion for the 2020 ponds treatment. So we authorized them to go forward with the preliminaries, early season stuff that we needed to get started on, that we actually have funds for in this year's budget. Have we heard anything about what they're going to do about budgets? I know the school committee has been inching forward, but how about the rest of the city, Eric?
No word on that yet. Last thing I heard was the auditors department just wanted us to give them an idea about, we had any deficits that we were expecting already on things we'd spent, but nothing else.
Okay, well, I guess we're meeting on the 21st, so I don't know how we're going to go forward with this. It's never gone this late where we haven't even had a budget submittal. I think probably what I'd be inclined to do is to prioritize things in the contract, and if we don't have a firmer word, we'll have it set up before we've had it set up that we say, we're signing the contract, but it's contingent upon funding. I think we'd probably set it up of like that they would need formal approval for each item before they go out and do it until we have a budget in place. I think maybe we can do that at the May 21st meeting. Do you want to take a crack, Eric, at sort of figuring out what our priorities are in terms of if we had to cut something?
I mean,
You want one of us to look at it?
I know that we set it up so that it's good to go already on the alum treatment. That's going to happen because we already had funding for that. But everything else, I had them break out as an add-on item that, It's just the new, we'd have to sign off on them individually as they came up. I think similar to how we did the herbicide treatment last year, where it was just another add-on thing.
Yeah, I think once we get the budget, I'd hate to be in a position where we have to actually have a meeting and a vote every time.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So we may be able to, all right, but until then we can move forward as in that way. But if we do know what our budget is and we can just approve everything we're gonna do as is. Do you think they need to know anything? Is there anything that they would be wanting to do that we would need to tell them by May 21st, or because otherwise we're going to be getting into the June,
what else is in
late June meeting?
Yeah, the only thing that they would want to do before then was the algicide treatment that we would usually have done.
When does that usually happen? It's usually when school is still happening, is that it?
Yeah, they usually do that before they do the alum, but they've been doing the alum later than they really should be.
Right.
So like it would typically happen like at the end of May for the algicide treatment, and then the alum was like the first week of June.
Okay.
and trail cleanup?
How much is the algicide treatment?
That was like another $1,800, something like that. I don't have the contract open in front of me here.
These are old business.
That's different. It hurts.
I'm going to mute the attendees. I think people are talking.
Sleep.
Maybe that was Mike.
What?
I was just drawing a text right there. I thought maybe it was Mike just then.
Oh. I think in any case, why don't we wait till the May 21st meeting and see if we have more word on how the budget's going to proceed. I have no idea what they're going to do with the city budget.
See, there's the...
And I'm not sure that like this kind of contractor services wouldn't be something that they'd really be looking at, so.
The algicide was $1,200. I'm just looking at it now. And then the herbicide treatment that they did, they have it scheduled for June if we were to do it.
Okay.
That's
All right.
another $1,220.
We don't have enough right now to do the algicide, do we? After this, the alum and the permitting part?
No.
Okay.
We'd be short, like, not by much, but we'd be short.
Okay. Does anyone disagree? I'm just concerned about the city budget this year. So, okay. And if we're meeting in 2 weeks, hopefully we'll have some idea by then, because I know they need to start thinking about it. Okay, so we'll just leave it as it is for now. On the open space type stuff, the thing that I wanted to mention is that I got an email from Ellen Katz about she was doing some of this cleanup stuff and going to conservation land trails, and she had some thoughts on that marking the trailheads a little better. She had trouble finding stuff, and I think the Ped Bike Committee is interested in working with us on it. And I know I don't know much about it, this wayfinding process. Is anyone involved in that?
Yeah, Susan, this is Ryan Williams. I'm on the
Hi.
fringes of that if you want me to talk a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Why don't you tell us about that and how that would connect to us?
Actually, the Ped Bike Committee meeting was last night, and we were talking about it because our chair is on the committee for the wayfinding grant. The city got $75,000 in an earmark to do this placemaking and wayfinding project, and it's probably going to be mostly signage and public art. And there's a small group of us within the group that feel like it would be good to have these like locations point not just to the business and sports districts, but also point to some of the conservation areas. And so there's a survey that the city sent out that you might have seen. Martha sent it, and I can share it with you all too via email. It's open till the 14th, where everybody gets to chime in and say where they would want this to connect. But you all also, you have access to me, and so, you know, I can share Jonah's email with you, and because he's on the committee, he can directly provide input. I think the idea was just that the conservation spaces should be included in this effort to direct people through the city.
Okay, so our role, so we could participate in this survey. There's some sort of public meeting coming up. Is that right?
Yeah, there is going to be. I think so, and I have the specific details in an email. I can forward you all that.
Is that going to be something where they're taking comments at that, or is it sort of a presentation of what the thing is and not interactive?
They'll definitely be taking comments at that. I've heard as of last night they had like 300 responses to the survey, which is a lot of responses.
Oh, that's a lot.
In my experience working on this stuff. So I think that tomorrow or the later meeting will definitely be a good opportunity to collaborate. Yeah.
Is there anyone on the commission who would like to sort of, follow it for us and spearhead any response that the commission should do? I think we should all fill out the survey, but if someone wants to kind of be the Conservation Commission voice or something on it. Volunteers? No?
I nominate.
All right, I'll try and keep it. What?
I nominate Mike.
All right. All right. I was going to try and attend that meeting, so I'll do that. But why don't we all try to fill out the survey, and then we'll try and keep tabs on how this connected. Is there anything else we should be thinking about it at this point, Ryan?
I don't think so. I had just mentioned, the reason Ellen emailed you, I'm sure, was because we were on the same call, and I had mentioned that part of the Trail Stewards program included, signage, and that was in a way wayfinding, and mentioned that we might be able to connect in, but how that works, especially in light of the city budget, whether or not there's any additional funds available for more than just Main Street on wayfinding, I don't know.
She was also saying that we need to reblaze, and she couldn't find some of the trails, although her big complaint was trying to come in from Mount Hood, which is not our jurisdiction. But
I was just going to say, I don't recall seeing the email with the survey link. If someone who has that could forward it, or Eric.
I'd be happy to forward it to Eric and have him send it along to the rest of you.
Great. Thank you.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Thanks. I don't think I've seen that survey myself either, so get it to me, I'll send it out.
I probably got it, but I get so many emails that I think I just missed it. All right. Anything else we need to discuss? Anything the attendees are here for that they wanted to raise with us? They're all unmuted.
Unmuted now.
Okay. All right. Any last questions or comments or items before we close this meeting? All right, I move to close the meeting. Do I have a second?
I have
need to do that.
one second. You
we're doing a roll call vote for that, right?
indicated there was a a process to go about with dealing with this quorum issue? Where if we adopted a particular state law, we could have a member do a catch up, I think is the phrase used. Is that a
The
good
city
idea?
council needs to
How
do
we
it.
do that?
The city council needs to, it has to go through like the mayor's office and the city council. It's a citywide thing that would apply to all boards.
And do they oppose it, or they just, nobody's ever brought it up?
I'm not sure. I asked Denise Gaffey about it several years ago because I was surprised that they don't want to do it. Because the planning boards has, I think, even worse issues with this than us, but I don't know whether there's a reason for it or not. I didn't really get a good response back then. It's like something that they would move to do, but I don't know why they haven't. But it's something we could pursue. Probably not in the next couple of months, but we could try and get that going because it does seem like something that would be good to have.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a process to do that. So it's maybe it's something we should put in the parking lot and think about at some point.
Yeah, it's something that the city would have to adopt citywide, but there is a process that they can do that. Okay.
So I'll second your motion to close the meeting.
All right. Do we need a roll call vote to do that, or can we just close it? Do we roll call? Sign off?
No,
Okay.
right. You guys all enjoy it, right? Richard,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Paul,
Yep.
Susan,
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yes.
All right.
All right. With that, we are done. So we will be back May 21st, and we will make sure Mike is here.
You then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.